Hey guys, Staf here. You can tell what season it is because it's kind of cold. I want to talk to you about your spring rebounder. Now, some of you may be on these types of spring rebounders, right? This rebounder that you find in retail stores generally in South Africa. If you are on a bad spring rebounder or a generally available non-bounty spring rebounder, my first word to you is get off it. Okay, you don't want to be on that. And the reason I'm saying that is not competitive. It's simply for one reason only. You are going to get injured. If you're doing bounty-oriented workouts on a bad spring rebounder, inevitably something is going to go wrong. You're going to get a spinal injury. You're going to get a hip injury. We see it all the time. And whenever we ask people what's going on, they go, well, I'm bouncing on this other one doing your bounty workouts. Don't do that. Please don't. Ignore bounty. Drop bounty. Go swim. Go run. Go CrossFit. Go to gym. Okay, ignore rebounding if you are not going to make the proper investment on a rebounder. But some of you that are watching this right now have made an investment in our spring rebounder. So you're not jumping on this gunk that has absolutely, it's completely dead. You're jumping on our springs. Now, there's nothing wrong with the spring rebounder. We love it, right? But notice, it's a bit of a noise, okay? Spring rebounders make a noise. Now, let me explain the difference between your spring rebounder that you got from us and our bungee range. So you'll notice we got jump sport rebounders, we got branded rebounders on our site, we got bounties. This is like the deluxe, the colorful deluxe. I got a 370 Pro, I've got a 550F. We got a very wide range of bungee rebounders. Now, why should you upgrade? Why should you consider upgrading your spring to a bungee rebounder? Here's why. Simply put, 2 minutes on a spring is equal to 1 minute on a bungee. It's a 2-to-1 ratio. So if you're doing 30 minutes of a workout on a spring, you're actually doing about 15 minutes on a bungee. Why? A bungee absorbs more of the impact. There's more lag, and that lag results in you having to exert more effort, utilizing more to get that leg up. So when you're bouncing, it's harder. It's harder. When you're bouncing up and down, it's harder. And when I say it's harder, not in impact, it's more difficult. All right? And that difficulty means you get more return on your effort. So 2-to-1 ratio just merely on effort. So if I'm 30 minutes on that, it's equal to being an hour on that. So think about that for a second. So that's the one thing. The second thing, so because of that, we see people plateauing. So a lot of folks that have spring rebounders, many of you have come into our store, I've met, pinged us on our support line, have said, like, I can't get my heart rate up anymore. So you actually get to a fitness plateau. And fitness plateauing is a big issue. We've actually released a mailer not long ago talking about fitness plateauing. So you've got to watch out for that. It becomes easier and easier, and that you shouldn't be in an easy comfort zone, because that's when you're not incrementally improving. And we want you to constantly be challenging yourself, improving yourself. Now, if you're on a spring, that happens very quickly. On a bungee, that never happens. On a bungee rebounder, you're never going to hit a fitness plateau. Okay, you are constantly going to be pushed all the way up. But on a spring, you're going to hit a particular point in time where your fitness level is there, and it's just not going to get better. Now, yes, what you can do on a spring, if you want to improve it, is add weights, add hand-weighted gloves, add ankle weights, etc. You can do that. But if you really want to up it to the next level, go to a bungee. Second thing about a bungee versus a spring is the fact that a bungee absorbs up to 90% of the impact versus the floor, whereas a spring goes max to about 60%. So floor-based exercise versus a spring absorbs between to like 40 to 60% of the impact. A bungee absorbs 80 to 90% of the impact. So injury mitigation, if you're someone that has a back issue, a knee issue, we always would recommend that you rather be on a bungee rebounder versus a spring rebounder. It's just because it's softer, it's less impact, it's gentler on your body. Then the third thing is, and this is the big one, is the mat surface area. If you take a look at the mat surface area on a spring, like I don't use springs anymore simply because I find that I get to the bull horns and the springs way too quickly when I'm bouncing, right? And you can't go, the ergonomics, we looked at, there was one point in time where Lisa and I were investigating a larger spring. But the problem with a larger spring, the bigger you go, the more spring effect you get in the mat. And those ergonomics and the physics of it just breaks. So this is actually the Goldilocks size. Our spring right now, the size of that mat that I'm standing on at the moment, this is the Goldilocks size. If you go any bigger, like an inch out, you get to a wobble. You get to a place where you get to a double bounce very easily. And some of our moves you can't really do on it. And it becomes impractical because the whole thing just becomes too heavy. Like a bigger spring mat means more steel, more material. It's heavy and it's clunky and it's hard and it's horrible. So this is the Goldilocks. But if you want to go from year to year, I mean, it's just night and day. I mean, this one that I'm bouncing on right now is actually one that Lisa uses at home, and she's been using it for about 2 years. Versus a spring, like when I'm on a spring, it's okay. Like I love our spring, but the mat surface area just, and also, my mic. Okay, I'm gonna stick my mic on. Don't worry. I should note that when I'm bouncing. When I'm bouncing on year 2, it's so different. When you come onto a bungee, I mean, the bounce is just, it's night and day. It's like, it's literally night and day. It's so much softer, more velvety, more smooth. But the first thing you notice, and this is what every spring person does, when they bounce on a bungee, they notice the size immediately. They go, and they start smiling because they notice like, wow, I can do so much more on here than I can do on there. Spot on. Okay, so diameter, size, impact absorption, effort, improvement of fitness, return on effort. Bungee is always going to be the spring. We've never had anyone that's owned a spring rebounder that's gone to a bungee and gone back to spring. It's never happened. Since we introduced bungees, it doesn't happen. The biggest stars in the world don't bounce on springs, okay? They bounce on bungee rebounders. Why? The biggest, Lisa and I have traveled in the United States and looked at some of the biggest rebounding studios over there. None of them have springs. They all have bungees. Got to ask yourself why. We've progressed. Yes, there was a time when the bungee technology was not as good as the spring technology. That was years ago. It was maybe 5, 6 years ago. Now, the bungee technology has way surpassed the spring technology. And now you've got different types of bungees, right? You've got, like the jump sport rebounders, you've got adjustable cords. You've got the deluxes. They can be colorful. You can pump your ride. You can change the colors. It's fun, right? With springs, you can't really do that. Also, one of the things that I just forgot to mention here is, springs versus bungee, hard. Kids get injured on this, feet slide through, bullhorns scratch them. Yes, it does have a skirt, but it's a harder rebounder. Whereas you can, this rebounder, it's safer on the kids. You're not concerned that their feet's going to go through and they're going to get hurt and all of that, which is really cool. So that's a deluxe. And then you get like the jump sport models, which go from this with, with like petal skirts, etc. And then they got adjustable cords, and the cords, you can adjust the mat tension. So you can go from a soft mat tension to a firm one, in between, different settings in between those settings. So yeah, if you are on a spring, it's time to upgrade. It's time to upgrade. Okay, you've got to move from that to the next level. Give that to somebody in need. Give that to the kids, let them keep them in the room. Or what you can do? You can contact us and you can trade it in. Not really trade it in, you can send it to us, and you know what we do? We'll send it to the Cancer Association of South Africa, and they'll donate, we'll refurbish it, we'll make it all nice, and we'll give it to a cancer patient that is in need. Because we all know of the lymphatic benefits of rebounding, right? The up and down movement. When someone's doing chemo or they're in remission, rebounders are amazing, and not all of them can afford it. And the Cancer Association of South Africa is very willing to take a donated spring rebounder and give it to some of those legitimate patients that are in need, and they do the allocation of the rebound. So if you want to do it, you can do that. But once you go to bungee, you're never going to go back to spring. So please consider it. It's a worthwhile investment. We got payment options, payment plans. And yes, it is a big jump in price. It's double. It's double. But it's a 2-to-1 ratio in benefit. It's a 2-to-1 ratio in return. It's a 2-to-1 ratio in size. It's a 2-to-1 ratio in every way. So it's fully justified if you're going from spring to bungee. And yeah, it's life-changing. In fact, when you bounce on bungee, you'll just literally after about a month, you'll just never be able to go back to a spring ever again. And that will be testament in of itself. Okay, so please upgrade, guys. And whatever we can do to enable that upgrade for you, make it easier for you, let us know. And like I said, we've got different models. We've got big ones, small ones. We've got colorful ones. We've got premium ones. We've got medium range ones. But bungee is definitely your upgrade from your spring. Okay?